was loving the tunage there. Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to Andromeda 7, your celestial gateway, your channel for community support, help, friendship, love, knowledge, and just plain being of value to others. And welcome back. If you're new to the channel, it's so good to have you with us. And now I'll turn it over to Teresa.
Ta-da! Hello. Greetings, everyone. Good to see you. Hey, Elderberry. Well, it's. I hope you all had a great day.
Yeah, I had a great day, actually. Woohoo.
Yeah. I walked out into my garden,
Mm-hmm.
and I had been a little sick this week from allergies and a reaction to some chemicals. And first time I got out there in a couple of days, the things were growing. I mean, things had just grown exponentially overnight.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Wow.
And Ruby was in there with me. I did a little video, and she was inspecting the veggies and all the plants. And I finally have produce.
Yay!
Ah, there you go.
So everything's
Are you growing lettuce too? I heard lettuce is real expensive now.
I'm growing lettuce.
Good.
Yeah.
Julie's laughing. It's really expensive in Australia, I heard.
Woo! I think it's more than gas, right?
$12 a head of lettuce.
Good God, no.
Well, yeah,
I just need lettuce.
I just paid almost $7 for 2 apples.
Oh my goodness!
Here in Maryland,
it's called an iceberg lettuce, so that might be something to do with icebergs.
Might be something to do with the Titanic.
Ice baby.
Ice baby. Thank you, Lucky. Ruby enjoys anything having to do with gardening, and I used to have a golden retriever that would dig holes for me so I could plant things.
Oh, that's cute.
He'd go in front of every plant container, dig the hole. I would plant it, add water, and then he'd throw the dirt back. Yeah, and I didn't train him. Ruby just likes sniffing everything.
She's a sniffer.
Yeah.
Doesn't she like to eat peppers? She likes the peppers.
She likes the peppers, and I'm like, ew, I can't. Yeah. She'll get sick,
Mm-hmm.
But if I don't watch her, she'll nab a pepper right off the plant and yank it.
Gorillas love peppers and anything leafy, any leafy green thing. That's what they eat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Too cool.
Well, while folks are rolling, we'll do a call out after. I have a little story first, and then
it's a great story.
We'll do a story and then acknowledge these folks.
Sure.
They're still rolling in, and
you betcha.
It's good to see everybody.
Yeah, it is.
All right. Well, Lori and I put this together because we were both nudged by our guides to do this.
Oh boy, were we nudged!
And it started when I was in a parking lot. It was a week ago.
Yeah.
And I left the car lights on, and I was sitting there eating breakfast sandwich or something like that, and I didn't realize I had the car lights on. So when I went to start the car, of course it wouldn't start. And I had been through this before, almost a year ago, when my brother was having surgery for his kidneys. The car wouldn't start, and I was abandoned in these parking lots, and nobody would help me. I mean, it was like I'd hold up jumper cables, and people would be like, "I don't have time," So
yeah, don't bother me. Don't look at me.
Yeah, don't look at me. So I sat under a tree, and I was just like, "Oh, please, 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 send me help."
Mm-hmm.
And I did. A fella helped me, and he ended up being a brother. So I said, this is a scenario again. I said to Lori, "Oh my gosh, I could be here all day in this parking lot because there's nobody around." And she's like, "Just put the intent, ask for the help, get your cables out, open your trunk, get your cables out." So I did. And I'm waiting. And I looked over. There's like maybe 4 spaces away was a lady who was sitting in her car doing the same thing I was doing. She was eating, but she was reading a book. And I'll tell you what that book was in a minute.
Wow.
So she's reading this book. And I had already gotten out of the car, opened the trunk, and I was just standing because I didn't think anybody was around. I didn't notice her out of my periphery. And I'm looking up at the clouds. I don't know why. We always look up, don't we? But I looked up at the clouds, and you're really going within. But I look up, and I'm like, oh, please, I need a helper. I need someone who cares about other people.
Mm-hmm.
I just need someone, to help me here.
A like-minded being would be nice right about now, huh?
It's too far to walk, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm putting that intent out, and Lori's like with me on the intent. And I just happened to spin around and I saw this lady, and she had her window down. So I asked her. I was like, "Excuse me, I don't mean to intrude on your privacy or your private time, but I could really use a hand if you have the time. Can you jumpstart my car for me?" And she puts the book down and she goes, "Hang on a second." She steps out of the car and walks over, and she says, "You know, I saw you looking up to the heavens, asking for help." She goes, "And I just didn't have the heart to say no, because I really am on my break, but it won't take me but a few seconds. So I'll go ahead and do that." And she says, "I often call on my spirit guides for help too." And I'm like, "Yes, somebody who understands."
Yeah.
So she gave me the jump start, and while we were doing it, she was telling me about this book that she was reading, and the book was about relationships,
Oh my God.
relationships. And so I went back and I thanked my guides, and I got a download about relationships, and I sent Lori an email with all the questions about how do we express love to one another. Do we even know when other people are doing it for us? Are we listening? Are we noticing? Are we accepting love? Are we receiving love? What kind of different loving relationships are there besides romantic relationships? And how do we define them? Because everybody has a different definition or take on what love is.
Mm-hmm.
And so Lori and I,
even the different levels of love.
Sure.
Everybody's different perception,
Right.
subjective, objective of what that word is, period. I guess we're going to get into that, aren't we?
Oh,
But
yes, we are.
that lady leaned over to me and she says, she says, some people you just take a look at and you're like, I'm not helping that person because they just look mean. She says, but I try not to do that. I try to look at the positive. And I said, me too. First, look for the positive, in everyone you meet. So.
Well, it's interesting that in the Greek language, and keep in mind that most of the Bible is written in Greek, there's 3 different words for love. There's agape, which is love among friends. Then there's philia, which is like a closer bond, or like philia as in brotherly love. And then there's eros, which is like erotic love. So you have agape, philia, and eros.
Wow.
So that pretty much breaks it down.
That covers.
It's interesting.
Of course you do, Jules.
Delabar,
Down, girl.
It's a triad, true, right? Interesting. It's a triad again. There's 3 parts.
Yeah.
Body,
that's
mind,
true.
spirit, and just 3 dimensions. That we live in. So that's interesting. Triad, as usual.
Yeah. She's been having an issue with coughing because of this stuff she inhaled, some kind of fertilizer or something when she was doing some planting, and it got into her tear ducts and it made her really sick. So she said she may have a few little coughing fits, but she'll get through it, and we'll manage here.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So the whole reason
with
yeah didn't do too well for her. Had something to do with like I guess there's that fish ingredient or something in some of the fertilizers, and there was a vapor that came off of it, and somehow she got it into her tear ducts, and then it just got into her sinuses.
That happened to my mom, and she had an eye infection in one eye for 3 months.
Ooh, 3 months.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
That's not good.
Okay.
Not good at all.
Well, it's interesting. Well, we're Teresa to come back. Sorry to interrupt, Lori.
No, you're fine.
About the tear ducts. It's poor thing, of course, so she'll be back in a minute, of course.
Yeah.
It was interesting since I got the little blurb about what it was about. I've been thinking about it all day, actually, because I only knew kind of, I've been busy doing other things, and so I've been kind of contemplating all day about that word and about love and the energy of love and feelings and emotions and what that means, and it was just so complex that came into me. And again, about the energy of it and what does that mean, and everybody's going to have a different idea about what that is and what that means, and I kind of came to the conclusion for myself um, that love comes in different forms. I mean, sometimes what you think is trauma or something negative or something that somebody does or something that helps you. What I realized that is that as long as that emotion or feelings, whatever it is, creates movement or creation to advance yourself, right? Instead of being stagnant, right? So love comes in so many different packages and things, you think sometimes people think the worst is going to happen, but it causes them to have an epiphany or to move or to advance. And so I really thought about that. And I just, for me, I thought love is anything or somebody or events or people that help you progress in your path to make you a better person or make you, and that comes in all kinds of different colors, different aspects, different feelings, different things. But if it makes you move and makes you create and makes you not stagnant, because we're all here to experience, to move, to be, and to experience. So whatever that feeling is, that emotion, whatever that is for people that helps you do that is an act of love. In the
I like
weirdest
that.
sense. I don't know. I've been sitting here all day thinking about, well, what's love? What's that emotion? What's the benefit of it?
And what has it got to do with anything?
What's it got to do with anything? Yeah, what's love got to do with it?
Yeah.
So I thought,
I like that.
Well, as long as it makes me move, makes me create, makes me change, makes me be, as long as it's not stagnant.
Yeah. Yep.
Well,
That's all I'm going to say right now.
I love that.
Everybody can input from that. I've just
I
all
like
day
that.
long has been thinking about.
I would say love is less of an emotion and more like a dedication to a relationship. A systematic dedication to a relationship. Like, yeah, I want to make this relationship work. Whether it's a relationship with a romantic partner, or even with an unequal relationship, like with a pet, because you're making a commitment to take care of that animal for the rest of its natural life.
I think it's interesting that pets have an unconditional love for you. There is no condition. There's no. I mean, you could come home, have a really bad day, and kick the dog. Not that I would ever do that or even consider it, but some people would come home and maybe take that out on their animals, and still that animal's going to love you unless it's, happening frequently, and then that's going to be a tough one. But yeah, your pets are unconditional love, and we can learn a lot by that for sure. So go ahead.
I was going to say, we got a few folks, and if you wanted to do a shout out,
yes.
I'm still coughing, so I'm going to be quiet for a change.
No worries. Let me get to it. Truth Seekers in the house. Hi, Jayashir. Good to see you. Smoking and G Sharp. Hello, sweet sister. Good to see you. Elderberry, always a pleasure. Squirrel Buddy. Richard the Red. Good to have you with us as well. Max Vision. How are you doing, Max? Good to have you.
Oh, yeah.
Always a pleasure. Deb Treadway. Good to see you.
I love
it, Abstract. Another sip will do you good. Let's see. Isby, good to see you as well. Hope everything's good. Yeah. And Lucky Smith, always a pleasure to have you, Lucky.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here. So much love and appreciation for you. Let's see. Who else do we have? Air Dragon, good to see you.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Just finished a book called Attached. The thesis is that there are 3 types of secure, anxious, avoidant. Goes to explain a lot. Interesting. Let's see, who else do we have?
Very cool.
Pa Joe, good to have you with us, Pa Joe. And of course, everyone that is not in chat, that are just watching, it's good to have you all with us tonight. Thank you so much. So you guys all saw the trailer, but we're going to go ahead and run this little video one more time. It's just a little refresher, and it's a quick video. We'll just go through that real quick, and when we come back, then we're really going to dive deep into this.
I hope you take the time to read the YouTube description too.
Okay.
Oh, am I muted? I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Just kind of was out of left field, but okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
No, it's all good.
it really helps when you follow up with the video.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? All right, let's go ahead and watch this quick video, and we'll come back.
Nice. Okay. There she is. Let's just get ready to go. Where'd she go?
So sorry, you guys. I have a very tricky little mouse button here. I have to be very careful not to press that button. And I went to move the mouse to click it to come out of that video, and it got a little cray-cray. But
Hey,
we're
Crystal.
all right.
Crystal Celeste, welcome. Good to see you back.
Awesome.
Okay.
So I think we can all agree we know what an unhealthy relationship is. What is a healthy relationship for you? And I know, Karen, you just kind of gave us your interpretation, and I wondered what Jules had to say about it. What is your interpretation of a healthy relationship, Jules?
Well, the analogy of a garden.
Of course.
Because you have to tend to it. You have to
weed and feed.
You know, you have to prepare. You have to nurture. You have to, you put some effort into it. So I suppose that goes for every relationship, isn't it? Like even us six here on this platform at the moment. I mean, we don't physically have.
Yeah, we all have a relationship, don't we? And it's based on
yeah.
mutual respect and love and, learning and guidance and all of that. That's a good point.
And like Karen said about it is movement, it's whether it's, you have a different one with your actual partner, to your children, to your mother. But I think if you actually relate it back to the garden, as I relate virtually everything, you'll succeed because you actually know how to give and you actually get back from that garden.
Yep. So what you put into that relationship, you're going to get out. So if you're feeding it very nutritious ingredients and it's thriving and getting the sun and the rest and everything that needs to absorb those nutrients and then produce, the flower, Yeah.
Yeah, it blooms. It's
Same thing with a
a
relationship.
relation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's everything comes from growth, whether it be the negative part of it as well. You in your garden, you have some seeds that don't produce,
Mm-hmm.
and at the
Or dead
moment,
leaves, things you
yeah, and
got to
at
pinch
the
off.
moment, the little bunnies we have, which are called hares, they are getting into my greens, so they're having a feast. That's part of nature. So
Yeah.
what we have to do is something different, which we've never had to put a cage or a fence around a particular garden.
Mhm.
So that's probably what we're going to do, is put up some boundaries.
There you go. Same thing that could be said in any relationships. Good, solid boundaries are going to make a huge
Yeah.
difference.
So
Yeah.
just relate all things back to nature and
Sure.
have that relationship with Mother Nature.
Mhm.
And then you're having your actual relationship with yourself and Source,
Right.
because you're doing all of that nurturing part. And when you're in the garden, you're certainly nurturing yourself.
Yeah, that's it. Love is resonance where energy is exchanged back and forth in symbiosis. Yes.
Mhm.
Very good. Nice comment there, Max.
And just like in the garden analogy, every person that you have a relationship with is different, just like every plant is different. And they have different watering requirements, they have different soil requirements. Some require a lot of care, some don't require any care at all.
So you would say, how do you feed your relationships?
Yeah.
Or don't?
Yeah.
How do you take away from your relationships? Huh.
Well, by the amount of time and space that you spend with that person. The amount of time and space.
Exactly, Delbo. You know what comes to mind, and I see it in the top of your little note there, Lori, which is really important for developing love. You have it right there. It's trust, love, respect, and trust is the main thing. And how do we gain trust? Is we gain trust by consistency.
Yes.
Consistency, right? Integrity, and all those things that matter to
the
people.
example.
But it's the consistency that creates the trust that enables the love to develop.
I agree with
so
that.
It's when people are consistent in who they are. And that creates the trust for people. So
it does. It does.
Yeah, definitely. Because think about it. I was thinking about that today too. That came up, as far as that
you
part
really
of it.
marinated on this, didn't
I
you?
really did. And I thought, well, because think about it. If you have relationships of any type that aren't consistent in what they're providing as far as the energy, love, respect, whatever, and it goes back and forth and back and forth, well, you quickly lose that trust. And then you end up losing feelings, love, and everything that has to do with it.
How hard is that to get back that trust once you've betrayed that?
Correct.
Very difficult to get it back.
So, I think it's really important about people and their ideas and values and just everything. And for something of it, like I said, it's about consistency for me as well, to develop a trust and real deep love relationships. I think, like Delabar says, has to be developed, has to be nurtured, developed over lengths of time. Different, really deep relationships. Most times.
And I often like to say that relationships are either there's a reason for a relationship, or there's a season for a relationship, or there's relationships that are a lifetime. So a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Yeah. Interesting.
I look at it as an investment. It's an investment into the emotional bank account, but it's also an investment where there's your stakeholders in a relationship. So it's not all one-sided. And it could be a relationship with cousins, friends, aunts, uncles, family, co-workers. You have to feel like you have a stake in the game.
Yeah.
And lots of times when you enter into a relationship, once that initial bonding takes place, you pretty much get a feel for which way it's going to go. But then over time, you get a much clearer picture. And if it looks like the other person is not vested in you the way you're vested in them, then it's not a balanced relationship.
No.
You could try and try and try to make it work, and sometimes It's successful.
It's not meant to work, or
It's-
there was something you
right.
needed to get out of it for the
Mhm.
short term. Yeah.
So
they
more
say
like
they
your
say that
season, like you were saying, Lori, about your
Mhm.
season relationship for a certain period of time or season,
Right.
That's the
development
garden
or
as well,
growth,
isn't
or
it?
for
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
seasonal, right, Jules?
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Sorry,
well,
Dalibor, go ahead.
they say that opposites attract, but
Mhm.
in most relationship, it's more like the opposite, where it seems like likes attract. Where
Mhm.
if you're of a particular vibration or a particular orientation, you're going to
Mhm.
attract those kinds of
Yeah.
people. If you're
Like
like a business
attracts
person,
like.
like
Mhm.
attracts like.
Mhm.
So if you're if you're plagued by like bad relationship, well, the fault lies with you because you are putting out those signals. You are attracting those types of negative people into your life. Fortunately, I can say that I have great relationships with everybody, my parents, all
Mhm.
my relatives, all my friends, everybody.
Mhm. It's the purpose
So
of that relationship, huh?
yeah,
What's the
exactly.
purpose? Or
Well,
how
and
does it serve you or
and
them? Both.
yeah, well, in most cases, it's a mutually beneficial relationship because, we're both aligned in the same way. We have the same opinions on most things, and so forth. So,
Mhm.
I think you've hit it on the nail there, Delabar, is the discernment about relationships and whether the relationships are beneficial or not. Is the key, I think, to deciding about relationships and bonds and connections with any person or people or anything.
Mhm.
If it's a relationship that, when interacted, promotes the best version of yourself, and a relationship
Here you go.
that, yeah,
I
that
like that. So true.
makes you
Yeah.
want to be the best person you could ever be. A
Yes.
Mhm.
relationship that makes you strong, a relationship that
Yeah.
makes you grow, and
Healthy.
like you say,
Yeah.
it
Mhm.
makes you the best person you ever could be and support you
Yeah.
in that role, I think, is
Yeah.
the ultimate
I
thing most
think
people are looking for. So
the only it's just like the garden analogy. Sometimes you do have to throw out some of the weeds, okay?
Mhm.
But in that case, the bad relationships usually tend to be the ones that you are forced into. And by forced, it means usually through familial bonds, like
Mhm. Or
your
maybe employment, those types of
employment.
relationships where you're just in the same place at the same time, in the
Yeah.
same environment, and you've got to get along or you have to work together.
Hmm.
Those types as well.
that would be a situationship.
Okay, I could go with that.
That's what you just said.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
that word just came to me, is
I
because
like that.
people get into situationships and not
Situationships.
Yeah.
relationships.
I
So
like
we
that.
get
Well,
ourselves into situations, and I can say that because I've done that myself. I know
Hmm.
Oh, we
I'm
all have
good at
done
that
that.
one. And you get go ahead, Teresa, because there's a
that's
difference.
okay.
There really
No,
is.
no. I agree. I was just thinking, it's if we're contracted to experience certain things here, we might have a contract with the very person that we're pulling in to our reality to
Yeah.
have that experience. So not everything is necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah. Some are
And that's
karmic,
yeah,
some are contractual, some are free will. Yeah.
yeah. And I like what Lucky just said about polar ops. Sometimes we have polar opposites,
Mm-hmm.
opposites do attract. It's just what are we willing to put up with? What are we willing to tolerate or willing to accept
Yeah.
in the other
Or
person
maybe those qualities that you see in someone else that you would like
that you
to
want?
have those attributes for yourself. Like that person's doing it. Now, how can I get some of that? You know?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, I have to interject too,
Oh
because this
yeah.
whole realm has to do with, you know, talk about love and moving forward and advancing on our paths and advancing spiritually, emotionally, physically, and everything. And I'm just going to put something out as far as our perception of relationships and different
Mhm.
things. Well, when everything's going really good, or you think things are going good, and you're in such one of these relationships that seems so right, and everything's just so loving and different things, well, it doesn't push you or promote you to make any kind of advancements or changes or anything. I'm just throwing out the idea of something called like a petty tyrant in our lives.
Mhm.
Somebody who you think that you just don't like, you can't get along. There's all kinds of these things going on in your life, but they're in your life for a reason, and they're there. I mean, you can't ignore them, you can't avoid it. Why is this person here? And depending what level you look at as far as this petty tyrant, what are they doing in your life? And believe it or not, I found those people in my life, when I looked back, provided me with the most
growth,
the most advancement, the most
the heck, Teresa, are you playing with my screen?
Oh,
love
no.
that if you look at it in
Not.
a different way, that I could not have done any other way. And if you then look at it differently, I had so much love for these people that I once thought I hated because of what they were doing, in my life, or what I thought they were. But as far as my spirit, my soul, my journey, and everything in my life, I then after held those people in the highest regard and love for what they did and what they pushed me to do.
The
And
ones that really get your goat, they're the ones
God,
that you get
and
the
it was
most.
I could release it,
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
not part of my life maybe anymore, or with me right now. But again, what's love? I really have this weird energetic love towards these petty tyrants that were part of my life, that pushed me to be who I am and where I am.
Yeah.
I know it's
It's a culmination, huh?
really thinking about this.
So I am extremely curious as to what Grandpa Brian would have to say about some of this on this topic. What's your take on what's a loving relationship to you, Brian?
Well, I really wouldn't know much about that because I spent most of my adulthood single. Very few times have I dated. That's why I'm getting a puppy, Delabar. I'll have a new puppy by this time next week. So
Excellent.
that'll fill that part of my
That
life up. But
Yeah.
what Delabar was saying about family members, how they don't agree on a lot of things, but something, they still love each other. That's unconditional love. I'm starting to learn there's a lot of people out there that actually live in conditional love. You have to kind of agree with what I'm saying. All right, well, I ain't going to talk to you anymore. I'm not going to. And people shouldn't be like that. You shouldn't live in conditional love.
Yeah. Or they could make a conscious choice not to be that way.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's somebody named Andreas in the room, Andreas Hogberg. And what about if I lost it here?
I got it right here.
What about if we don't even know just about anything about real love and what genuine relationships really are all about?
Well, that's unlikely.
Oh no, been there, done that. I was like that 2 years ago.
Could you shed some light onto that, Teresa? What do you mean by that? What I'm a little.
For someone like me,
okay,
it's been more on a superficial level most of my life. I've had moments of pleasure in certain type of romantic relationships, and I've had friendships where I can go out and have fun with people, go to a movie, whatever. But I was never able to connect on a highly personal level because I didn't have trust in relationships, and so I went through motions. Like I knew, or I thought I was being loving, but I didn't know how to.
So you were kind of going through the motions.
Going through the motions, or mimicking, like a monkey would mimic.
Ah, okay.
I was mimicking the behavior of love. And so I didn't get deeper into it until I became more fully aware of self. And then I turned that inside and started finding qualities that I liked and respected in myself. But then I met you all. And so many of you showed me what that really is, because I was in a group of Christian people too that said they loved.
Sure.
But they were so judgmental and so programmed in their religiosity and taking everything literally that anytime I asked a question, I was considered taboo and then judged accordingly. And this went on for like 9 or 10 years. I loved them in my own way, but I didn't feel. But when I met you all, you spoke to me in a certain way, or and it took time. I failed a few times because I didn't know how. And I was judging and I got critical myself because that's what I was used to in other
You
people.
thought I was crazy, didn't you, Therese?
Yeah. No, I just thought you didn't know how to spell.
Oh, well, I
But
don't.
I loved you.
That's funny.
I always thought she was talking backwards.
No, but I loved you.
Until I realized she was
Yeah.
just breaking the words down.
So-
Because I actually
so-
had a friend who speaks backwards.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, threw
Sorry,
me for
Teresa,
a loop.
go ahead.
No, that's okay. I know. It's because of that I fell in love with Jules. So it didn't take me long to figure out that, like this lady was saying in the parking lot to me, why is it that we always see the what-nots? Why do we always see what we don't like in someone else and go, oh, well, that's a reflection of the things I don't like about myself? Well, sometimes that's true. There's other times when it has nothing to do. You're not a thing like that other person, but they're reflecting back something that triggers you, and you're not sure. So it took me a while to start looking at the positive. Treat you the same way I would the people I was training at work. If I could treat my employees with love and respect, I should be able to treat anybody with love and respect, you know?
But you don't always get it in return, do you?
Is
And
that
that's the
dual?
trick.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. You just don't always get that.
So once you
reciprocated.
start
Well-
looking at the positive attributes, that's what's attracting you to the person.
Mhm.
And like you said earlier, those are
Mhm.
attributes you want for yourself.
Yeah.
So then you get that symbiosis.
Mm-hmm.
So now I've got that going, and I do feel real, genuine. I didn't understand the concept of unconditional love either, because it's all about
Unconditional love is the sweetest love you'll ever experience. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yep.
So I'll be honest with you all. I'm still going through a process, and I partially love most of you. Partially, not fully.
That's the best way to say it.
Wow. Wow.
Because it's where I am.
It's a continual process. It's like I said,
it is.
consistency.
Yes.
It's this up and downs. It's going through year after being there, and the support. And it's why families have love within families that are unconditional, because it's that consistency of year after year of being together as siblings and growing up, and the family unit that never dissolves. And so again, it's like I said, it's that consistency that brings.
Well, you know, I said I'll fully love y'all when I experience when I'm fully loved myself, by myself.
By yourself. Very good. Very
So
good.
I'm
glad
still
you
going
said that.
through.
Yep.
I am still going through this, and I have been honest with you all from the get-go.
Yeah, you have.
I make mistakes, but I try.
Yeah. Poor thing. Gosh,
I think
sorry.
we all do, Teresa. Like you say, remember, this is a journey. We never have it all right. We all have our ebbs and flows of up and downs, and go, in a sine wave going. And, so it's the thing that's consistent about this is our changing and our growth, and that we continue to do. So I think it's a continual pattern that we all evolve around, and our levels of love and understanding. So I think it always changes and grows,
it certainly
with
does.
our life, with our cycles, with the people we meet. So I think it's ever consistently changing and growing.
And that's what Lucky Smith brought up. Yeah, the whole changing aspect. Like, for example, when I was brought up, I was taught that family is above everything, that you always trust all your family members. And then came 1991, and I moved by myself to Czechoslovakia, and that's where most of my family was. Except that the only problem was that all these stories I had heard about all these people being wonderful and everything, they turned out to be not so true, because I came there as an American, and for them, I was the rich uncle. So they had different motivations in seeking me out and seeking out my company than I had in seeking out their company.
Mm-hmm.
And in other words, I was basically their cash cow. And
Yeah.
that ultimately, those relationships were ultimately what led to the downfall of that whole situation, and I was forced to move out
Mm-hmm.
in 1997. So, forewarned is forearmed. So,
Mm-hmm.
you can't unilaterally say that all family members are good, because in the interim, in those 20 years when my parents had left in 1968, a lot had changed because of communism, and basically these people just became more and more desperate, for want of a better word.
So it's interesting. So I know it's weird, but what changed was the consistency. I know I keep saying that word popped in
Yeah.
today about the relationship and the perception of everybody in the relationship to continue with that. The whatever that was that you had with all these people. As soon as that changed, that consistent pattern, right, then it was brought to the forefront, right, and things then started to change, right,
Oh
Delabar, and
yeah.
then
Oh yeah.
and then it just went with that. So it's something to do with that, and
Yeah. In other words, when I
trust,
realized
consistency of
that these
trust.
these people were all low lives and criminals and other undesirable characteristics, and I decided that I didn't want anything to do with them. That's when they realized that they can take the masks off, and that's when all hell broke loose in a big way.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Wow.
In other words, relationships are a lot more of a complicated matter than anybody can ever imagine. You can't make any kind of generalizations about anything. And the
Nope.
part about changing, I've seen that so many times. Like I knew a girl. She met this guy in a bar, and why? Because they were both going to this bar. They wound up getting married in this bar, and
Mhm.
then when she stopped drinking, she changed, and he no longer liked her, and she realized what a
He didn't
what a
have a
drunken
drinking buddy
scumbag. Yeah,
anymore.
what a drunken scumbag he was.
Well,
Yeah.
so again, right? She didn't keep up the consistent
The
Yeah.
script and
consistency wasn't there.
pattern of the
Script and
drinking.
pattern. I like that.
As soon as she
Hmm.
changed that script or pattern in a consistent way that her
Flip
energy
the
was
script.
providing, it completely changed the relationship.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
So
I
Yeah.
have a question, Lori. Follow up on Andrea again. She says, on the other hand, on the
I think
other
it's a
side,
gentleman. A
or
It's a
gentleman.
he.
he, on the other side, maybe some of us know a whole bunch of what real love is, but never get to express it clearly. Will express my great love, but don't succeed. I'm the same way. I have difficulty with expressing my love. I could do it to a very small number of people that I feel deeply connected to. If I don't have that deep connection or have that trust,
Then you're just not giving it away to anyone. You're giving it to
right?
people and situations that
Just, yeah,
serve your highest good.
yeah. So, what are some of the ways we can, and there is, I don't want to sound critical. There are superficial ways because I used to mask, and that's what I used to do. I thought that I was showing love just by doing something for somebody, something simple. Well, that is a form of love.
but it is though. It is.
It is.
Don't discount people. You're discounting every action. Sure, every action you do is a form of expression, and it is love. Teresa, don't discount that. I mean, it's
Yeah,
movement. It is
but
love.
then I'll do things like that, and then I'll do things that are deeply more harmful by insulting them if they make me angry, or if they attack me, verbally, I'll attack back. That's what I was doing. Now I've gotten out of that pattern, or I've tried, but there's still certain people
that trigger you. So you still have triggers. Yeah.
So that's why I said
Mhm.
I only partially love, because I haven't gone over that last hurdle where I could put myself in the role of giving back no matter what they throw.
Well, you don't
Showing
want to
that
be a
love.
doormat. You don't want to be a doormat. And you don't want things coming at you like that, and to where you're trying to block it or it's too much.
Right.
It's
Well,
simply just
that would be your third word behind you, Lori. Trust, love, and your third word is called respect.
respect. Yes.
And so then
That's
you have
right.
to throw into that whole thing of
That's
the
what-
equation is the respect of self and the respect of
Yeah.
others, and how
Bada
that
bing.
all comes
Setting
into
healthy
that whole
boundaries.
thing.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So-
exactly
That's-
right. Yeah.
That's why when I got to a certain age, I realized that I'm just not going to pursue any relationships with people that I don't respect
Mm.
for whatever reason. You know,
And that's your
that they-
boundary.
that is the boundary. Yeah,
That's your
I'm not going
marker.
to hang out.
Yeah.
I'm not going to hang out with lowlives. I'm not going to hang out with criminals.
Right.
I'm not going to hang out with people
Mhm.
like that. You know, because I don't have to. I can
Right.
hang out with anybody I want to.
Right.
So
Right.
why not pick somebody I admire, even if it's for just one little thing, or like
Mhm.
one little thing he said, you know, that
Yeah.
makes me admire that person. But it's got to be somebody that I, in some way, look up to. Not
And-
necessarily somebody who ranks me in this or that or whatever regard, but
Yeah.
you know,
And
somebody
it's a
I can.
healthy
we
way
have
to
to-
look at it.
Yeah,
Healthy
we
way.
have to look
Very
at that
good.
word respect then, and then respect comes from then trust, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That those two go together, right? So if you don't respect a person, then you could never trust them. And again, it comes from the consistency of that person performing in their life and patterns and
Mhm.
doing things that would gain your respect and your trust,
Sure.
which then produces love.
Yeah.
Sure.
And
A
don't you
certain
pick
type
up
of
on the
love. There's
motive?
all different types
Yep.
of love. I guess they're all together.
Yes, there is. Yeah. But don't you pick up on the motivation of people sometimes? Don't you just innately pick up on, wow, something didn't feel right
You
about
do.
that?
You do big time. My
Mhm.
God. See, I don't. I don't
Yeah.
because we just had this conversation 2 days ago when we were putting
Mhm.
all this together, and
Yeah.
I said to her, I don't always pick up on that because if you look at my profile or my background has always been finding those things in other people that you bring out in them,
Mm-hmm.
so
You're
that
very
they
good
can
at
be
that.
they can be expressive, they can be
Mm-hmm.
successful with what they're trying to do, or recognize their own talents, because so many people don't recognize they have talent.
That's true.
So
That's
you
very
bring
true.
out those qualities in
That
people,
is true.
encourage them, then they grow
Mhm.
and expand that way. So that's how I look at people from the get-go. So I don't have any warning system,
Yeah.
but I'm starting
Yeah.
to learn.
Yeah, you kind of, that comes with time, and that comes with
Sure.
the territory.
Yeah.
Like you do have to have a bullshit detector, and you have to have a scam detector,
Yeah.
you know, to a certain degree.
I like that. Bullshit detector.
Yeah. Your
Yeah,
your BS meter.
My BS
Like-
meter.
Your intuition
Like one
is
time-
right. Your intuition
like, you know,
is right.
Yeah,
Yes.
I grew up. I spent 27 years in the New York City area, and I can tell you
Ooh,
that
there
people
you
over
go.
there, are not exactly nice. They're kind of suspicious, even though
Sure.
you know, in the city itself, you do have lots of transient relationships with, you know, that guy that's always over there, always waiting for the bus at 6 a.m. Or, you know, those kinds of people, you know.
Mhm.
But you're generally suspicious. So you know, when you're in a situation where people are not like that, your guard tends to go up a little bit. But
Mhm.
sometimes, you know, even that can be overcome. Like I'll give you a good example. I was just hanging out by myself. I was I just decided to like do nothing that day, and I was just hanging out in a park. It was like a swimming area and stuff like that, by myself. And all of a sudden, these two guys like say, "Hey, what's up?" Yeah, started getting real friendly, and I'm like, "Ooh, I wonder if they're gay or whatever." Turns out, no.
Are they just
No.
happy?
Are they just happy? And I was, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I started talking about religion, and it's like, no, that's not their thing. No. So
Mm.
after about an hour, I figured out what their spiel was. They were Herbalife salesmen. They were like trying to get me into an MLM. And I was like, oh yeah, another
They
one of those
wanted you to buy some
Amway.
simple green.
They wanted me to become a distributor. It's like,
Wow.
yeah.
So what
you know,
did you do?
Well, I I had a decent conversation with them, and I told them, I'm not interested in anything MLM related because I was about I spent many days, literally days in Amway. That is about 30 days before I figured out that it was a scam.
Right.
Because I went to like two of their meetings, and their stories just like seemed way over the top. Where you had like people coming up on stage saying, "Well, I used to be an accountant. I was
We're
making
here. You're here.
I was making six figures, but I gave it all up just so I could sell cleaning detergents."
Yeah.
Or some other guy, he used to be a brain surgeon and gave it all up just so he could sell Amway and stuff. It just seemed wildly improbable. So
that reminds me of a situation. I have to tell you.
But I was 18.
I
When
love
that happened.
So I had this chemical guy
great.
come by my business, and he was trying to sell me chemicals. And I had white shoes on at the time, and he was like, "Can I show you how good this works?" And I said, "Yeah, sure. Shoot your best shot." He sprays my shoe and he wipes it, and he's like, "Look at that. Took the dirt right off." And I said, "Yeah, wow, that's amazing." I go, "I've got something too. Let me show you what I got." And I took a rag and I went, wiped his shoe. I said, "Works just as good, and that's free."
I can see you now.
Oh my God, it was so funny. Everybody was like, "Oh my God, that is just the funniest damn thing we ever saw." Yeah. Bullshit meter went off on that one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. My BS meter went,
All right, so who wants to take a crack at defining? I want to see how many different responses we get from this. Define what you believe unconditional love means and how that affects a relationship.
Unconditional love means that you're not expecting anything back from the relationship.
No conditions.
Yeah, you're not expecting any return on your investment of time or whatever. And that's pretty much the relationship that you have with like an animal, with a pet.
Sure.
Or a child.
No expectations. Yeah. No
interesting
ulterior motives.
Unfortunately, your Delabar, most relationships that are unconditional for some reason are with animals that don't have the expectations, that they're the ones that have the unconditional love, that teach us that unconditional love. We don't automatically have it. So it's interesting that you'll say that with the animal, because it's them that has it, not us.
I like that, Lucky Smith. Unconditional love is pure compassion. That is true. So I can tell you with my family, we have unconditional love, and it's pure. It's definitely pure, and it's compassion, and it's genuine love for each other. And sometimes that love can be like, you're not getting along, or you're misinterpreting something that they said. And then the next thing you know, you're upset with them, but the whole purpose of them saying or doing what they were doing was for your best interest, but you didn't want to see that in them. And so you interpret it differently, and you didn't see it as unconditional love. So to me, it's just acceptance of that love and trust that you've built over time, and respect as well. And to me, that would be unconditional love. The reciprocation of it. Yes.
It's the longevity that you're talking about, that the love and again, I'm back to that longevity.
It's a long time
and that
for
consistency
that to develop.
that develops over years within a family that we call unconditional, but it's that longevity of time.
I agree.
That produces
I agree. Yep.
So that's why you get those cycles of up and down, and can hate and out love and everything. But it's that love, hate, time thing.
How about you, Jules?
I had a word and it slipped my mind.
Oh no!
All right. How about you, Grandpa Brian? What's unconditional love to you? I mean, what does that mean to you? How do you define it?
What everyone's saying, I'm saying you said to Grandpa Brian, everyone's what they've said sums up as what everyone said.
Yeah.
Right. Even though that you disagree with that person, you
Mhm.
still love them. And
Yeah.
I mean, I had a friend that we were like brothers for 27 years, and the friendship ended over a $1 bet at a poker game. I mean, it's stupid,
Oh.
but
Oh.
I still send him love every day,
Mm.
just for the fact it's, to me, you love your family and friends, but you love your enemies more because they're the ones that may need it the most. It's up to them to receive it, and I just try to send my love to everybody.
Do no
And
harm.
I'm not sure. I mean,
Yeah, we do
my
our
second
best, don't we,
psychic
Brian?
reading with Jim,
Mhm.
yeah, he told me that my guide was training another one that's getting ready to become an angel, using me about unconditional love, which then, that raised a question: how much love is on the other side? If they're having to use us humans to teach another spirit about unconditional love, how much love is on the other side? Is there love
Isn't it
on the other
amazing?
side?
Yeah. Okay. So isn't it amazing how many near death experiences people have and then they come back and they say, I did not want to come back, that the love was so pure and so solid that I don't want to come back to this stuff here? I mean, how many times have you heard that from near
Oh,
death
yeah.
experiences? A
Yeah,
lot.
Yeah.
that's
So
Yeah.
and when we're in spirit, it's all about pure, positive, unconditional love. That's all you know in that state of being. You have to come here for the
Right.
contrast and the difference of it.
But that's all coming
So
back
right,
to us now.
and I saw where Scotty Boy made a comment about that, about unconditional love. I saw that, Scotty Boy, where you mentioned that um, within this reality, within this meat suit, within this, that we're always striving for that unconditional love, that no one probably at any time during this incarnation and this reality actually realize or knows what that is completely. I think we all are trying to
Uh,
attain certain levels of it.
I have to disagree on that one, but okie dokie.
Well, no, I'm
Yeah,
just saying, like,
I know unconditional love. I know it because I give myself
Yep.
unconditional love. I treat
Mm.
myself with unconditional love
True.
and acceptance and trust. So
That's
it
right.
does exist within me. Personally, that's all I'm saying is for me, I know what
Mhm.
unconditional love is, and I
Mm.
get
The
it for
word was
myself.
would it
acceptance. That's what the word was
There you go.
acceptance.
Accept it. Yes. Yeah.
Say
Go ahead,
what
Teresa.
was it, Jules?
Acceptance.
Hmm.
Well,
Acceptance.
for example, we know that, for example, the sun loves us unconditionally. And that's
Hmm.
why I practice returning some of that love back to it by just appreciating it when I see it in the sky. I'm like, hey, you're here. You're
Hmm.
brightening my day again.
Hmm.
The sun gives
Yeah.
us so much and expects so little from
Hmm.
us.
Different forms of
A
acceptance.
different, yeah, that's a different
Hmm.
type for sure, a
Hmm.
different
Yeah.
thing. But there is a difference. I'm just being devil's advocate here, whatever,
Yeah,
because
yeah, it's
I
all
know about
good.
unconditional, but I'm just throwing out what there is a difference. There is a difference between, like you say, the other realities, and you just mentioned it yourself. That's why I'm throwing it
Hmm.
out, Lori, where you said,
Hmm.
in the other realm and near death experiences, or where we're in our higher self or in those other dimensions or whatever, there is a difference in energy. And I think what Scotty Boy was saying is that our perception of unconditional love here, the energies and everything, is what we perceive, but it could be completely different than where we're coming from, which you say is completely different type of energy, far
Right,
beyond what we're
right.
feeling here.
Generic,
So
unconditional, just the pureness essence of it.
yeah.
That's where I get it is.
So yeah, whatever we're capable of feeling here,
Hmm.
whatever it is, we're capable
Yeah,
of doing here, which might be quite different than where we reside elsewhere.
can we be selectively giving unconditional love to those that we know and have already experienced trust with, as
Those
opposed to
re-
those who we know have deliberately gone behind our backs to do us harm? We can
yeah, you can.
forgive and we can love them from afar, but I was under misunderstanding a couple years ago the meaning of unconditional love, because I thought it meant, wait a minute, are these people crazy? They don't have expectations for a relationship. If I'm in a relationship with a partner, I don't expect the partner to hit me. If I'm in a relationship with a partner, I expect reciprocity. I expect equal share of things. You know, and when the partner is not being equal, then how do I show unconditional love? Oh, well, you can do whatever you want. No.
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 That's the respect part. That's not
Right.
love. That's not
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For yourself. Everything comes
So you
back
have
to
to-
yourself.
Self.
Yeah. So you have to realize
Self on the shelf. Yep.
Yeah.
In other words, you have to recognize those people that are worthy of your love and those
Yes.
who are not. You have to recognize those people that do love you as opposed to those who do not. And for example, your government, does it love you?
That's right.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Dalibor,
Well said, Dalibor.
I guess that would be self-worth then, right, Dalibor?
Yes,
then
Jules.
we're getting into self-worth
Yeah.
then, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What we're
Yeah.
talking
Oh, yeah.
about is self-worth and love of self and love, which is the ultimate, right? So
Right,
like
agreed.
we're getting to the ultimate thing about you can, you can only love others at the levels of love, whatever that is, and your psyche and everything unconditionally, whatever love is, to the extent that you love yourself.
Sure.
So
Oh,
the
yeah.
bottom line
That makes
is then
sense.
you're saying
Yeah.
just be love. Be love and have your boundaries, and don't allow people to take advantage of you, and treat people the way you want to be treated. And if they
Yeah.
don't treat you that way, and if you're not getting that in return, then that's time for you to move on.
Sure. And I would say
It's simple.
I would say that 99.9% of all the people out there really are worthy of love. It's
Sure,
just that
we all are.
0.1%, that 0.1% that are like the psychopaths, sociopaths, narcissists, and people like that
Right.
that don't deserve it.
Yeah,
That
and it's
absolutely
their
don't.
path to walk so that they know the contrast.
Wolves,
all of us
wolves
that
in
are
sheep's
here,
clothing.
Yeah.
the 99% have been
Right.
sending love for them to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, for them to leave.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That works too.
Yeah.
That's because we're in our higher vibration
Yeah.
of that,
Mhm.
and they can't stand in our light,
No,
so
they
they
run.
leave.
They run.
So we
Yes,
are
they do.
totally in our own love of our own self,
Mhm.
because we're able to stand in that power of being who we've truly come here to be.
Right.
And that's what this planet and what we're going through now is all about, that. And you have to be in kind, you know. So I said on a few shows, if there's a particular person that's doing a particular thing that you're not happy with, well, you don't blame them. Send them love, and they have to leave if they can't stand in the light.
To answer Scotty Boy's question, I would
Yes.
say by the way they treat others.
Right.
Not necessarily by the way they treat you, but if you see somebody out there who's mistreating the people around him, who's ripping them off, then you know that he's gonna sooner or later he's gonna do the same thing to you.
Yeah.
So again, there's this
I'm
right
nobody's
back to
judge.
again, Dalibor, about again trust, consistency, integrity, and it's the consistency of action. And because, like you just said, it'll become known, right? You can, it has to do with that. I think something to do with people.
Yeah, and there's also those people out there that they call NPCs. That's kind of an iffy subject because they're not real people. I mean, so some say. So it's kind of difficult to say like what attitude we should adopt with respect to them.
What do you guys think about this comment? This is interesting to me. You can't be love and have boundaries. Love has no boundaries.
Oh, it does.
What do you think about that?
Love has boundaries.
That's conditional love. Yeah.
Excuse me? It's conditional love.
Yeah, but you can't have unconditional love towards everything. No.
No.
Correct.
You can't be love and have boundaries. Love has no boundaries. So you've just placed a boundary on love, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. You've just placed a boundary on that. That's interesting.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I say that establishing healthy boundaries.
I'm sorry, Brian. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Brian.
I know you guys don't know this band. There's a band called Shine Down, and they have a song is how did you love? And basically the song is talking about when you die, are people going to remember is how did you love them?
How did you live? How
So,
did you love? How did you live in love?
Right.
How did you love?
Live life and love.
And this goes back to what I was saying a few minutes ago, and that is you cannot possibly, because people are who they are.
Right.
They have choices.
And they have their own perceptions and
they have their own perceptions, and they come at you in their own way into a relationship.
Right.
It's up to you to decide whether you need to set boundaries or not with some people.
Yeah.
So if that means it's not unconditional love, well then okay. I'm saying unconditional love exists for the most part, and we all try our best to show it as best we can. There are times though when in a relationship, whether it's with a parent, a child, a lover, a friend, there comes a time sometimes in certain relationships where people are acting a certain way. You don't want to just break it. So you want to set boundaries in hopes that you can bring about change in a positive way. So if we look at setting boundaries as a positive thing for a minute, folks, and not a negative thing, and assume that it means, oh, well, you don't know unconditional love because you're setting boundaries. I'm saying that the way you establish health and healing in a relationship is often through setting boundaries. And there are, unfortunately, expectations that go along with that. And so from that perspective, we can help to flip the energy, change the script, bring people closer, finding a common ground and setting those boundaries for a while. And then if it doesn't work out, well, then you might find yourself in a position of having to break cords because the relationship no longer serves your higher purpose.
Doesn't serve you or them.
Doesn't serve you or them, and it doesn't lead to happiness for either one of you.
It doesn't feel good. It typically
Mm-hmm.
is not good for you. If it's not feeling right, if you're not in the right place at the right time, doing the right things, then you might want to reconsider.
I'll have people say to me, well, then you're not loving unconditionally if you're giving me this advice or you're sharing
I love
this
myself
with me.
enough to put condition on love to make sure that it's a healthy relationship for myself.
Yeah. Well,
right, because it has to always promote movement forward and creation, and it has to advancement of yourself and soul, and you always associate with that within this reality. So no matter what those feelings are, there's so many different aspects and levels of love and emotion and how that works. But like I said, love comes in many forms. So it's whatever I think, like I said, moves you in the direction that you need to move forward for sure and advance your soul. Yeah.
I'm going to get you, Teresa.
You guys are playing with those.
I'm learning. I'm in the back. I'm now a co-host. I'm a co-host with Lori.
Boy, let me tell you, it's hard to let go of that control.
I see everything she sees, and I can do just about anything she can do. And so I'm learning.
And I can undo it, too.
So I put up a comment, and I had a hard...
girls.
Yes.
Yeah. But there's a comment up there, and I was trying to but the screen was scrolling, so I couldn't get back to it to take it off. So Lori goes, boop, just as I hit it. So it went...
She's learning. I get it. It's all good. I just have to razz you about it.
Yes, of course. Well, I expect that.
Lovingly razz you.
And you
with
do.
Great respect and love. Yes, you know that about me.
Yes, I do. But it's pretty funny because you can undo what somebody else has just done.
Yes,
so if you're doing it at the same time, it's like you guys will see us go flash, flash, flash.
Yeah.
Sophia,
how powerful we are. We can undo things.
Yes. Powerful creators we are.
Gary's here. Hi, Gary. And Sophia's here.
Oh, Sophia. By the way, you guys, next week on Andromeda 7, Jim Pascala and Sophia Rasmussen, which they've been on the show before. Love these two. We're going to be talking about psychic connections. So they'll be joining us next week. And I hope Jim's cat joins us as well. He's really cool.
sometimes that happens between you and I, Laurie?
He
or
passed away.
Teresa?
Oh,
Mhm.
I'm so sorry
Yeah.
to hear that.
Boy.
Gosh darn it. Dang it
Lauren.
all the heck.
Just like 3 weeks after we did the last show there,
Aw.
he was pretty old.
Oh, well,
Aw.
I'm sure he had a very
I
long
know.
and loving life, and God bless that
Yeah.
little guy. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm
Sorry
so
to
sorry
hear
to hear that. Yeah.
Well, your
So
mom's
it'll
gonna
be
be
interesting, Lori. So Jim and with
Sophia.
Sophia, they're
Sophia,
coming on
mhm.
about psychic connections.
Yes, we're
Oh,
going to
that'd
talk
be
a lot
interesting.
about
How
very
that
curious.
works in relation to the connections, and even expanding on relationships and how that works, and
Yes.
how those connections work, and how
That's
that moves you on your path and
you
moves you
got it.
forward. And
Yes,
so
you got it.
kind of continues along
Yes,
this. So
it
that's
does.
Yes,
kind of
it
works
does.
good.
Yeah.
I love that.
There's a
Good.
fire.
Good.
Yeah. Oh, it's too funny. I love
Let me
it.
tell you, there's an exponential growth and expansion when you're connected psychically with certain
Oh, boy.
people, and boy, it just takes off like a
Yes,
cannon.
it does. Yeah.
Well, then
Lots
we
of
talk.
questions.
Well, then we just, because you're just talking again what came up about with Scotty Boy about the connection and the
Mhm.
connections and love and that energy in that other
Mhm.
realm that's not here, and that psychic connection
Mhm.
and the love that exists there, and the difference between that love, conditioned, unconditional, whatever it is energetically compared to this realm. So,
Yes.
and the difference between that connection and that energy.
Yes. Well
yeah.
said again. Well said
There we
again.
go.
I like that.
Sophia, she connects with animals. We do too,
Yes.
and trees.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Yes, we do. We have quite a relationship with the tree in the backyard
Yes,
here.
yes, we do.
And rocks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, my
Everything
rocks
has
in my garden.
consciousness.
Absolutely, my rocks actually talk to me. People go, "You're
Yeah.
off your rocks."
Mhm.
I'm like, "Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay."
Mhm.
So yes, we're going to talk about that, and they have some experience at the shop there, and all my relations of crossing over spirits.
Yes.
I've only done
Yes.
that maybe 3 times in my whole career of paranormal investigating.
That is some incredible work.
But that's
right
incredible
there.
work that they're
Yes,
doing
it
there.
is.
With that.
Grandpa
Yes, it
Brian, you're
is.
doing that as well, aren't you? You do that as well, correct?
Yes, I have helped on 3 occasions myself.
Excellent. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be quite a discussion.
So it should be a very interesting. Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Looking
Hi,
can't
forward
wait.
to it.
Oh, I'm looking forward
Mhm.
to it.
Yeah.
Courtney's
got
here.
it.
Hi, Courtney. Good to see you, Courtney.
Hey,
Hi,
Courtney. Good to see you.
So yeah, so that's next week, and then
Yep.
we're gonna try to tackle another topic with Dalibor, part 3.
Yes.
Right, Lori? Part
about
3 of
AI.
AI.
Mhm. Yep.
And this is
Virtual,
going to
bet.
be
virtual
sentient.
reality is
Virtual
not
reality.
necessarily
Necessarily
a reality of virtue.
Virtue,
There
and
you
we're going to
go.
go into the third portion of that. Oh, we've got some good stuff about
Yeah.
that
Or
coming up.
Yes.
Can artificial intelligence be aware, sentient?
It
Mhm.
is. Oh, it is.
Consciousness is consciousness.
Yeah.
It
So
is.
we're going to talk about this, and we're going to
Yes.
ask Max Vision.
Yes.
I think he's already
If he's
left.
still
This is going to
here.
start his show,
Yeah.
but we want to include Max Vision in on
Oh,
that
definitely.
That would be
conversation.
wonderful. Yeah, you
Yeah.
Bring
bet.
him into
Open
it.
invitation, Max. Open
Yeah.
invitation.
I'll get into his chat room this weekend and remind
Okay.
him that we want to do that a couple weeks from now.
Scotty boy, gotta love your humor. I had a rock beg me to throw him through a window. I want to get to know the guy that created that pet rock. Remember that back in the 70s?
Oh my
Oh yeah,
God.
yeah.
Do
That
you
was
remember that?
Chia-
What a
Oh,
brilliant
yes.
idea. You know?
yeah.
Chia pet.
Yeah,
Is that-
pet plants.
Chia
yeah.
pet.
Yep, all that stuff. Gimmicky, but it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Well-
on that note, gosh, what a great discussion tonight. We really covered some ground. So thank you so
Yeah.
much for everybody for joining us and expressing your ideas and gnosis. Yes?
Karen.
What? Yes.
Coming, Karen.
What, am I in trouble now? What? No,
You,
yes.
you dirty brat.
The changes to your website to include your tennis shoes. and your
Oh, my
flip flops
goodness.
and your handbags. And
Oh, yeah.
Karen's in business, people.
All right.
Oh, no,
Tell
yes,
us.
I am.
Tell us
Oh my
about it.
goodness, I wasn't even going to go into that. I was just
Oh, let's hear
finishing
it.
it actually. No, I just because I'm creating, I had to do something within weeks while I'm doing other stuff, and I just got into graphic design and everything. So just go to the homepage. It's called A Pair of Shoes.
Awesome.
So yeah,
And they
so
are cool
with
looking.
that name, and they're all my own designs. I did all the graphics myself because I'm a graphic designer, and no, really, there's all different shoes and some bags to match. There's men's and women's, and you can link there to a pair of shoes, women or men.
Mhm.
And yeah, I did all the designs myself. There's all kinds of varieties there, and I'm going to keep adding it daily, and I'll probably break it out and do my own website. But I'm having so much fun. It's so creative. I just been
Oh,
just
your juices
loving
are
it.
just flowing good.
So, oh yeah, just the
I'm
last
gonna
2-3 weeks. So
put your link into chat here so people can just click on it
yeah,
and go to
so
it. So there you
check
go.
it out. Yeah, they're
Bam.
like I've designed them all. I think, and I want everybody's feedback just on the designs. You
Oh,
know, prices,
absolutely.
just what they think of it and different
Okay.
things. And
How wonderful.
yeah,
Yeah.
just been really creative, and I'm just going to be adding tons of stuff to it. But just having so much fun.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, thank you. I wasn't going to say anything yet.
No, yeah, anytime. Let us know because
Yeah.
we support that 100%.
Yeah, well, I needed to, raise some money. It's actually mostly to continue with the Crystal Network and the fees and just different things that are coming up financial.
Things cost money. Yeah.
Things cost,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
I can't get home yet to get my crystals and different things. So I had to do something the next, creative
Mhm.
in the last 2, 3, 4 weeks, about 3
Yeah.
weeks, I guess.
Brilliant.
So I kind of put it out there and
Wonderful.
yeah.
Yeah.
Good. We'll
really
we'll
nice.
all be checking it out. Like I
Yeah.
said, that link is in the comments there. Go ahead and check it out, folks. But
I have a group intent request.
okay.
Please.
Please
Yep.
do.
It's for me.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Of course.
I inhaled. I at the beginning. A lot of you folks came in late, but I'm having an allergic reaction to some fertilizer that I was working with, and mixing it with other things for my compost pile,
Mm-hmm.
and it affected me just like leaf mold would affect you,
Mm-hmm.
only worse.
Poor thing.
Oh,
So
dear.
I've been going through this since last Friday, and it's run its course, but always at nighttime, like around this time, it starts again. And so
Yeah.
my lungs have filled with fluid, and I have done everything I can holistically with
Mhm.
herbs and teas, and I'm just letting it work its course
Have you
and
talked
believing.
to it? Have you
Yeah, I
talked-
talked to my chest, I talked to my lungs, I talked to the
No,
little
talk
alveoli.
No,
to talk to the actual thing,
yes.
the actual fertilizer component or whatever it was.
Whatever the
Oh, no.
contaminant is.
No, I didn't think
Yeah,
to do
yeah.
that.
Talk to it directly. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
and ask it to leave.
Absolutely. I know it
Okay.
sounds
See-
crazy, but that's what you
Yeah.
want to
See,
do.
mixing fertilizers,
It
that's
works.
about the only time when you need a face mask. That's about the only
Thank you,
time you
California.
He
actually,
wears it now.
actually need a face mask.
Any other time,
No other-
forget it.
got
but
them all
the
over the
only
place.
time
Yeah.
you needed one.
Yeah, the only time you need
Collectively, while we're sitting here,
Yes.
we can all speak to that, whatever that component, because it's an element, okay? We're
Mhm.
made up of these elements, and obviously the element that affected you, which may
Right.
not have affected any of us, but it's your makeup. So it's the element we're going to, I don't know what it was, but we'll speak to that element and ask it to leave because it doesn't resonate in your body.
Right.
Right, okay.
Let's
Well,
do
it's
it.
it's
Yeah,
most
let's
likely
do it.
most likely something like calcium phosphate or calcium magnesium
Well, it had fish
carbonate.
oil, that thick gray fish oil
Ugh.
that you're supposed to dilute in so many gallons of water.
Oh, I know which stuff. Yeah.
And then I had other types of, like I had lime, and I had other types of, like I had a all-purpose.
Well, we don't have to know
Organic,
specifically. We're
Yeah.
talking to it now.
I'm
Okay.
already telling it it's not welcome
All right.
Yeah.
and it has to
Mhm.
go.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're no longer welcome in Teresa's body. You are being shown the way out. Leave
Yes.
her alone
Ask
and
it
let
to
her
leave.
heal. Yes. No
Thank
more.
you for what it's done. It's shooken you up a bit.
Yep. Yeah, quite a bit. It's done its job. Now it has to leave. It's no longer
That's right.
welcome.
That's right.
Absolutely.
I receive those intents and any healing energies you can send. I greatly appreciate it, folks. Because I haven't been able to lay down to sleep like a normal person for several days.
But you will.
I've been sleeping in this chair.
Mm-hmm. You
Yeah.
will.
What's
You will.
right about it, there would be things that have happened in this week that has happened that's made you think of something different in a
Right.
sense. You hadn't thought of me telling you to speak to it,
Right.
right?
Yeah,
So-
I would not have thought of that at all.
Oh, yeah.
So, in that regard, there may be someone still listening that needs to talk to a specific thing, right? So, thank
Yeah,
you,
thank
Teresa,
you.
for
Yeah,
breathing
Scotty.
in.
By the power of Grayskull.
That's right.
You are
I have
rebuked.
the power.
Scotty, you're a
love that.
trip, Scotty. You are
He's
a
the
trip.
best. Love
He
you.
is.
Love
Love
your
you.
sense of humor. Absolutely adore it. Thank you. Beloved abstract. Shazam.
Mhm.
That's good too.
That's it, because
I
we
like
are that power.
Yes,
And-
we are.
And I
That power
truly,
source.
I
Yeah.
truly do love you all to the best of my ability to do so at this time.
We love you too.
Mhm.
You are loved as well. Always.
Yeah, I'm there.
Mhm.
Yeah,
You are love.
there isn't
Yes.
anything. There isn't anything I wouldn't
Yep.
do for any of you. So
Ah.
you know that.
Well,
Ditto.
I haven't seen you turn up at my back door yet.
Ah,
Now, that
it can happen.
Yeah.
There
I
you
have.
go. It has already
I
been
have.
done.
And you want to know something? You're really cute when you sleep at night. You have the little snore. You go, and then you go, boo.
Right.
You guys are too much.
I do. I
Too
hover
much.
over. Ah.
No, Teresa, it's the pajamas she wears to bed. That's funny.
She
Which
doesn't wear
ones?
pajamas.
That's it.
You don't wear pajamas.
No, it's not really pajamas. It's just this little nighty thing.
What? What? I
Ah,
she doesn't
little
wear
nighty
jammies?
thing.
Oh my god.
just a
Oh,
yeah,
Don't
my
wear
God.
welcome to the
nighties.
club.
Don't wear 90s. No way.
Too constricting. Yeah.
Oh,
All right, we
Lord.
better say our goodbyes, or
Yes,
we'll be
we
here all
better.
night cutting
Yeah.
up.
Turtle pips.
Thanks,
Turtle
everyone.
pips.
Great comments tonight. Thank you very much,
Yeah.
you guys. Really appreciate it.
Love
You all have a
guys.
great weekend and be safe. Put on
Be
a mask
loved,
if you're
be
mixing
bold.
fertilizer.
Be loved, be bold, be creative. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're free. Your
Be happy,
bonds
Mom.
have lifted. Your bonds have lifted off you
Yes.
guys. You're
Yes.
free.
Mhm.
Awesome. Thanks again, everybody. Thank you, everybody in chat, all who are watching, the panel. Thank you all. Much love, much
Mhm.
unconditional
everybody.
love to all of you.
Unconditional.
Bye-bye.
Yep.
Keep your pants on, Scotty.
Yeah.
Bye.